All right, everybody. All right, everybody. Hold on. Let me get this set up. I think everything should. Let me start the stream. Okay, let me make sure I'm streaming. Um, let's see. Check.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great.
Just making sure we're streaming. I like a lot of times for me, my style is I just do things freestyle, like on the fly.
Cool. Yeah, we've done interviews before.
Yeah, and for me, because I may not be a programmer, but I think like a programmer. So I really enjoy like the ability to be able to create. It's like the way I look at Drip. I tell people it's like it's its own nation. It's its own government, and we kind of run like a government, especially now that we have the piggy bank and the piggy, the DAO.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a new element of democracy, and this is something that I just brought up because we have the capital from the collateral rehypothecation, which is now worth something like 1.2 million, 1.3 million, something like that. It's going to be a lot more once the farm opens back up, and this capital is going to be used for pig pen injections, but I told people that we would do an injection at the end of last week, and I did one just to, honor my word. But this is the one function that's not automated. And the reason why I didn't automate it is because I wanted some flexibility, whether we use it for buybacks or we use it for pig pen injections. Now, after a couple months, or I say a month and a half, 2 months of going back and forth doing pig pen injections or buybacks, we realized that the injections really they have a more of a positive price impact on the token. Plus, they reward the right people, the people that are in it for the long term. So that's been settled now. We're going to use it just for injections. But when I went to go sell the cake, because the way that it works is we have all of the LP collateral on the farm staked in PancakeSwap. That's earning cake. We're then taking the cake that we earn and staking it in the single asset cake pool to earn additional yield. And when I went to do that injection yesterday, I was like, man, I got to sell cake at these prices to do the injection. And it was just killing me because for my analysis of the market, I believe that we bottomed out at 26,000. The Bitcoin bottomed out at 26,000. I think we could range around here for a while, but I really don't think it's going to go much lower. So it kills me to sell the bottom, sell cake at these prices.
Yeah.
Yes. So so that's wme I thought, what a great way to use the governance protocol, where instead of me, deciding when we're going to buy or sell, because I do think if the community decided we just want you to decide when to sell the cake to do the injections, I would do a good job of it because I've been trading for a decade now, and that's how I make the majority of my capital. But just to make it fully decentralized, I think an even better way is just to have the community vote using the governance protocol, and I can have some sort of say in it because I can choose when to put up the proposal. So I can put up a proposal as soon as we wire the UI to be able to do this, because we have it wired up on the old UI. We need to wire it up on the new UI. Then I'll put up the proposal right then, because there's no better time than right when it's set up to put the proposal forward. And the proposal will be: does the community want us to sell our cake holdings now, or wait for better value? And then people can decide. And then, of course, with feedback from the community, we can make, if they decide they want to do it at some other time at a better price, then, with feedback from the community, we can decide when's the next time we put that proposal forward. But I really, so I look at yearly pivots as, my primary way of finding targets, like high time frame support and resistance levels. And that's not what I use for trading or day-to-day trading or anything like that, but it's just something that I use to kind of find long-term tops and bottoms, like going out a couple of years from now. And when I was looking, when we were at 64K or whatever we were at, it was actually hitting the yearly pivot, and we topped out right at that yearly pivot. And then the next, and that was at the end of last year. The yearly pivots updated this year, and now the support, the next up and coming support based on the yearly pivots was 26,000, and we went down. We found support there.
We're on that same cycle as when we first got started. We launched, and then we went up to $10, and then the market came down from that 60,000, and we settled in the threes for like a month and a half, and then that's when the first yield farm came out, B farm, which was like a partnership, and then we went to $58. So we're going through this same cycle this year. This same thing is happening, but except we have a higher price and we have a lot more users. We're over 100,000 users now, which is going to be, we're one of the few coins that we kind of have like an elastic algorithmic supply, where our supply, when people sell, the supply increases, but when people buy, our market cap increases along with the supply decreases. So we can just like go to $100, $200. We can just ramp up very fast, so people can understand, because our price can move really fast once buys start coming in because of those two things. Of course.
It has a kind of bipolar mechanic where it's not only putting more capital in the liquidity pool, it's also removing drip tokens from the circulation. So it has a kind of compounding effect on the price. Yeah, and it moves fast for sure. So speaking of moving fast and what we have coming up, when I get out of this meeting, I'm going to speak with the DEX, and I really would like to announce tomorrow in the interview that I have with Crypto Freaks. I think their name. The name's not. Let me see what their name is. It's just not at the top of my head. But oh no, Crypto Junkies. That's what it is. When I have the interview with Crypto Junkies, I would like to announce that partnership on there. Because it's going to be a wide audience that's outside of our own community. So I think it would be a good place to do it. So that partnership is not only going to give us exposure on a major exchange, because they're producing a new product. They're only going to offer this new product to 5 of what they feel is the best, communities and best projects on BSC. We're one of them, and they're putting a lot of capital and a lot of their resources into promoting it. And of course, since we're one of the only ones up there, that's going to go a long way to promoting us. And I think so. Not only is it going to be a promotional aspect, but also they have a new product coming out that involves NFTs and yield. So essentially, the way it works is, just to give a quick breakdown of the way it works, is you deposit LP tokens. These LP tokens get locked up and generate an NFT for you, and then this NFT that gets generated kind of locks in a percentage yield that you're making based on when you created that stake, and then you're earning the yield over time. So it's locking up capital, and it's giving incentive for people to be buying and locking up on their decks. So between the co-promotion and between the co-promotion and like a major new product that's incentivizing people to buy and lock up drip, I think that's going to be, it's going to be huge for drip, and that's a couple weeks away.
Now, this DEX, do they have their own? Do they have their own DEX, or they're not? Or they use PancakeSwap?
No, it's their own independent DEX, right?
Okay, I have an idea. I have a couple ideas. I'm not gonna say it, but I have a couple ideas. I feel like
it's a massive DEX on BSC.
Yeah,
It's a massive.
yeah, I'm
So
excited for this because, well, so I guess that means we're gonna have our liquidity on 3 dexes now. And I think I know what it is because your thing is you like you want data, you want more stats for drip, and so this dex will have to have stats displayed on like CoinGecko or Coin Market Cap if they're the coins that they have. So yeah, I definitely have a good idea of who it could be, but this just means more liquidity for us. And like I said, I'm more. It's gonna be like for me more of a technical thing because now the difference is what's going on with the coin because I find that now people are starting to look at drip as like a coin that they want to hold, like a storage of value, like possession now. So and the main thing that we have here is the vault, which is important because that's where we get our rewards from. So I'm kind of glad that uh, we have things that drip can be used for, like the yield farm, and then now the new decks. And I think you were saying they're also going to have single staking for drip.
yeah, so this is one of the things that I worked out with this dex because when we so for Animal Farm, for example, we're only staking on the back end the LP tokens, and the reason for this
Okay.
is because the single asset staking is either it's not available or you're earning like 6% a year or something like ridiculous, right? Something that's really not worthwhile in DeFi. Given the risk and all this stuff, like you could get that in the S&P or whatever. So what I've worked out with this DEX is that we will be able to have so not single staking for drip. We'll have LP staking for drip on their DEX, and this will allow people to earn a high yield in this DEX's native token rather than drip. And I mean that's huge because I'm not super interested in having alternative single asset staking for drip. I think that would take away from the faucet. I think you really can't get better than the faucet for single asset staking. But to have and providing liquidity to drip is that has more of a positive impact than just holding drip or just staking the single asset. So what we worked out is that people will be able to stake drip LP tokens, right, to earn yield on their DEX, and the yield will be paid out in their token, not drip. So this is
that's what I'm kind of showing right here on my screen. I'm showing them Pancake Swap Finance. If you look, you can have cake and BNB, and you'll earn cake or BUSD BNB. So
exactly
on their farm, it'll be just like this, as you can see. It'll be cake. I mean, it'll be drip BUSD, or is it going to be BNB?
Drip BUSD. I always prefer BUSD because it allows us to, have as much separation from the rest of the market as possible. Although we do have a deep BNB pool, so we are still affected by the swings of the rest of the market. But having a deep BUSD pool does allow us to have some separation due to arbitrage. So if only the BNB pool is going up, for example, or going down because of the whole market, cycles that are separate from drip, that gets slowed down a bit due to arbitrage between our BUSD pool, which isn't affected by the rest of the markets. So this is
sorry to cut you off, but yeah, for people now, because drip price is low, you can pair your liquidity, your BUSD with your drip. Now you better do it before price goes up. Because I mean, if you have a lot of BUSD, if drip is $20 and you have 200 drip, then you're gonna have that BUSD times that whatever value is. So it's good that you can do that now while the price is low, as you guys already know. And then of course, in 2 weeks, do you think that the farm will be going at the same time our farm, the animal farm, for the drip BUSD? When do you think that can come into play that we can earn more pigs?
All right. So let me just finish my thought real quick about earning yield. So what this allows us to do is, for on the animal farm, for example, we have the drip BUSD staking pool. Instead of that capital just sitting there, we can earn yield on it. And what what my idea for it is, all the yield that we earn from the drip BUSD pool on the back end goes to buying back drip and sending it to the vault. So this is, it's going to be, an extra, 30%, 40%, whatever, it's the APY adjusts based on how much capital is in there. But I would assume it's going to be around 30, 40% APY. And this is on, 40 million dollars worth of capital. So that's, an extra 15, 20 million dollars in capital cash flow that will be going to buying drip and removed from the market. That is otherwise wouldn't be here. Like, it's not that's capital. That's another cash flow that's being added on without any kind of additional buying from the community or anything. It's just, being more efficient with the capital we have and earning yield with it on the back end. So as far as Animal Farm, because this is another thing that's huge for drip and the whole ecosystem, having people incentivized to stake and lock up drip. And it's, the vault, the drip BUSD farm vault was also sending a lot of capital to the faucet vault in the form of drip through the 1% tax when people deposited that drip BUSD. Now, the farm this week, the plan is to open up the dog's credit contract, and we're using the same contract as Pig's crediting. So that's, that's not going to be like some major big deal for us to do. That's something easy for us to do, but we have to do it. So we're going to do it this week. And last week was all about, let's get, Piggy Bank launched. Let's get the Pig tokens launched. Let's handle any small UI issues, answer people's questions, do all that over the weekend. And then this week, we're going to focus on starting the dogs migration. So this week, we'll have the credit contract up. That will allow people to send in their dogs. And we need people to send in their dogs and send in their dog LP tokens, because that will allow us to migrate the dog LP from the current liquidity pool to a liquidity pool that is interoperable with the new MasterChef contracts. And the reason why we need to do that is because we gave over ownership of the dogs token to the MasterChef contract, which means we have no ability to call any minting functions. We have no ability to update. It's all immutable. So we need to migrate the capital from the current LP pool to a new one, and then we'll have deployer ownership of this dogs token, so we can then pass ownership of it to the new MasterChef contracts. So that takes the community getting involved and allowing us to do that, just like with Pigs. And we're going to open that up this week. We're going to give people a week to do it. And in that week, that we're allowing people to send their dogs in to get credited, we will be setting up the new MasterChef contracts and the UI and everything. I can post, let me just post a screenshot right now just to show that we are working on it right now of the new UI, right? Of course, this isn't finished. This is just, we're working on the new dashboards, but let me go in.
Okay, so we can look
Animal
forward to this week. It's gonna be okay. Now everyone can start crediting their dogs, and then in the next 2 weeks we can look forward to the partnership going live, and then we can put our drip BUSD over on the third party DEX, which is a major DEX.
Yeah, so I would say what the timeline that we're working with now is by the end of the week we'll have the dogs crediting. The week following that, so this week we're going to be opening up the contracts and the front end to allow people to do their crediting. We're going to give people a week to credit, and then the following week we will be deploying the new MasterChef contracts, deploying the new UI, and getting people prepared for essentially launch. So, I would say, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks max, and the farm will be fully live. But it's not like you're just going to be waiting for weeks. It's going to be every week. There's going to be something happening. Like this week, the credit will be opening. The following week, people have an opportunity to credit. The following week after that, we'll get the new UI up so people can see it and interact with it. And then the week after that, that'll likely be when we go live.
Oh, that's actually pretty nice. So that, it's actually a good idea. Well, it's actually going to be really good for a higher APY. That there's two places to put your drip BUSD. For those that don't know, when you're yield farming, there's two things that make the price or your APY high or low. It is how expensive is the coin. If the more expensive the coin that's being farmed out, the better the APY and the less people that you're splitting the money up with in that particular pool. So the fact that there are two places to put your drip BUSD, that's going to be higher APYs, and people are going to have to decide which one they go into. But either way, it'll give more rewards for drip BUSD. So that's even more bullish for drip BUSD. And that also means, for those who are wondering, is the guarding going to be good? Yes, because the guarding is going to blow up. Price is going to start blowing up everywhere, and your Garden LP token is going to be worth more. Plus, the Garden is the one place that you can actually increase your LP tokens without buying more drip. It's the only way you can do that. That's going to go on another run, I believe, because people are going to want drip BUSD.
Yeah, and this new product through the DEX partnership that we're having, since it is staking, it could potentially allow us to do some additional, we have some additional functionality on our site as well. So this new product is a time locking product, and it could potentially allow us to do things like time lock drip LP for a period of time to earn yield on our farm, but it's also being time locked on their product as well. So you're double earning there. We want to do as much. We want to use our capital as efficiently as possible, and that can be done through taking advantage of multiple products through our UI. So when you stake on our UI, you're also getting the benefit of being staked on PancakeSwap and being staked on whatever this other product is. So this is something that we're putting a lot of focus onto, but of course we're being careful about it, because when we open up a staking contract, for example, PancakeSwap, doing the lending on PancakeSwap, that of course that opens us up to the risk of being staked on PancakeSwap. Now, PancakeSwap, I would say, is the lowest risk farm you can have that isn't something that's developed by us. So we feel comfortable utilizing their contracts on the back end. But this isn't something we would do with just any DEX, but people that have been in the space for example, PancakeSwap's been on BSC since BSC launch, and they've proven to be a secure and trustworthy model. So there's a lot of ways we could generate a lot more capital by utilizing different products on the back end, but we're just going with the lowest risk models possible. And that's why we're, doing so much with these big major DEXs.
Okay. So what I'm showing them now is the chart for Pigs token, just kind of show how great Pigs is doing. The fact that the way you launched it, where those who are in the pig pen, instead of actually getting their pig credits to be able to have the tokens readily available, with that method, it allowed Pigs to be very stable. I mean, we're almost like we're a better stable token right now than UST.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah,
Pigs is doing pretty good, hanging out in this 200 range, and that's because of the way you set it up. Where if you got your Pigs credit, you had to go to the pig pen or you had to go to the piggy bank. Piggy bank, well, you can't take the LPs out. The pig pen you could, but only release 2% each day. So second day 4%, third day 6% of your tokens that you have inside there. And it's working out really good with that strategy. And the fact that right now you can't generate any new pigs with drip BUSD. So you're creating that demand and let people see how great the piggy bank is actually paying out. It's actually paying very good. The coin is very stable, and we need that because our value that's in the piggy bank and the pig, well, in the pig pen, of course, is tied to the value of pig. So we need pig to do very good. And of course, the higher and the better that pigs is, the better APY we get.
Yeah,
So
and keep in mind, and keep in mind that when the farm does go live, right, then there will be, there people will be earning pigs in it, but also the pig pen will be getting millions of dollars more cash flow to it, which is more incentive to take those pigs and stake them. So we saw with the farm has a supply control algorithm that looks at the current demand for the token and then can set anywhere from high reward to deflationary. And we saw that this allowed for price appreciation because it would only emit enough, it would only emit pigs, so or an amount of pigs so long as the price was stable or going up. And this was without the piggy bank, and we've made many major improvements to the piggy bank as well, and we've made the MasterChef contracts way better and able to generate way more capital. And for example, it's those the MasterChef contracts are never selling pigs, never selling dogs, where in V1 they did occasionally. If it needed to equal the amount of BUSD or dogs on the contract, it would sell dogs sometimes, which now with the V2, it can only buy or burn dogs. So there are multiple improvements that we made to the MasterChef that will make the native tokens way more bullish just, as a standalone. But also, we've already proven that any kind of inflation due to pigs being earned through the MasterChef is offset by the incentive it creates to stake those pigs in the pig pen. And now with the piggy bank working the way it is and the new mechanics in the pig pen, like the vesting and the ability to earn pigs and all of this, and we're going to have auto compounding coming up very soon. We're working on that right now. But so with this, I feel like the pigs token is going to perform a lot better when we have the farm going live, because there's going to be way more attention on it and way more incentive to put it in the pig pen, because I believe the cash flows and the rewards that are going to be paid out to the pig pen are going to at least 5x what they are right now. Because right now they're paying based on just the BUSD in the vault, which was earned previous to pausing. Now we're going to have the LP tokens, the yield generated from that. We're going to have the deposit fees, both from the pools and the farms. We have the dog token, which is taking 3% of every transaction and swapping that for BUSD and sending to the pig pen. We also have the single asset collateral hypothecation that we're doing. We have a very cool method to do that. So if you look, the kind of yield you can earn for single assets is very low. But we came up with a protocol that allows us to pair the single assets on the back end so we can be earning 30-40% off them as if they were LPs. And then when people go to claim them, it unpairs. So that alone is going to, at least double our BUSD rewards going in there. So, when the pig pen increases its rewards by 5x, maybe more, the incentive to get into the pig pen is going to be so much higher. And this is going to more than offset any kind of pressure that's being put on pigs through people earning it as rewards.
Okay. And what I want to say now is, good thing with all of this that's been going on in the market and everything, let's say maybe people worry about drip price, it's a good thing that a lot more awareness these days has been raised about the reservoir. I think a lot more money is going in. I'm definitely been loading up because when I first got in the reservoir, I got in the reservoir, but not as heavy as I wanted to after I understood it later on. But I did get in the reservoir at the start of drip. And what people need to understand is when the price is low, that's the best time to go in the reservoir, because that BNB you're going in with, there's a 10% fee, but then the rest of it half and half of that BNB is going to, half of it is used to buy drip and actually lock that in liquidity. Now, there is a part of it that's a permanent lock, but I'm just going to stick with the general part of the BNB goes
2%.
Half. Yes, 2%. I didn't want to speak up because it's so low, but most of it goes to buy BNB, I mean drip and BNB as it is liquidity, which is very important. Someone asked, and I want to know if we can do this as a proposal. Maybe we take 1% of all the deposit fees going into the farm and have that go into the reservoir. Maybe we can have that proposal. I think that's very good to have flow going into the reservoir to give drip BNB liquidity to the reservoir. That would actually be amazing to keep raising the floor price, because that's what's happening. Even though our supply is where it's at now, I believe 130 some thousand, our price is higher than it was back then because we have more money in the reservoir.
Yeah, so that's something we can consider. Right now, the 1% deposit fee goes to buying drip and sending it to the tax vault, but we could even add an extra 1% to it, make it 2%, 1% to reservoir, 1% to the tax vault. This is what we're going to be spending the next couple of weeks on, is really hammering down how we can improve these master chefs and how we can set up the dogs situation to be similar to pigs. Because if people didn't know, right, something like a huge amount, like over 90% of pigs were locked up in the pig pen, which means that if we didn't come up with some kind of scheme, right, people could have just withdrew those pigs and 90% of pigs would have been in people's wallet right at launch. And how do you think that would have went? So we had to come up with something where people's pigs would be locked up when it goes live, but also they'll be happy about it because the rewards that they'll be earning when it's locked up will be greater than anything else they could be doing with their capital. So, and that's what we did, and it worked out great. So now we're going to be hammering in on dogs and how we can set up a very similar situation for dogs when that goes live, so people don't have to worry about dogs goes live. All of a sudden, there's a ton of dogs in circulation for people who don't. No, we're going to come up with a type of.
What if you have an auto deposit in the single staking dog pool and a time log there?
Yeah, so I think that's a good idea. That's potentially something we could do. So for sure, what's going to happen is they're going to be credited in the MasterChef contract. So people that had their dogs paired with BNB or BUSD or in the single asset pool, that's where they will be credited. Now, we need to come up with a structure so that's where they'll be credited, but they cannot just immediately withdraw it and dump it. But also they'll be happy because it's credited in there and they're earning a high yield on it, which is worthwhile, same as we did with pigs. So we have a couple ideas that I would say that's a good one. I'm really interested in adding a time locking mechanic on the master chefs, and we could take advantage of that with Pancake Swap has their new V2 syrup pools, which allows time locking to earn additional yield. We could kind of piggyback on that, have time locking on our MasterChef contract that is also time locking on Pancake Swap in the back end to make even more capital. So yeah, this is what we're going to be, really, really focusing on in the next 2 weeks. We've already done a lot of improvements to the MasterChef contracts, which I wrote a Medium article about, and a lot of them, at least a dozen of them, I didn't even write about because it's just things like we made the contracts more efficient, so it costs less gas, and things that people really, they would kind of get lost in the details if we tried to explain. So I explained like the 5 improvements that we made that are very easy to understand and very, you don't need to understand coding to get them. There's about a dozen other things that we improved that just, make it so the transactions are faster, cheaper, more efficient, earning more yield. But in the next few weeks, we're going to be really focusing on, all right, what are we going to do to ensure that when we credit people with dogs, they won't be dogs in circulation, but the yield that they're generating on them while they're locked up is enough that the general consensus is that everybody's happy about it, like with pigs. So, Yeah, most likely it will have something to do with the mastership contracts, but people will be locked, wherever they were. So we're not going to credit people in the single asset pool if they were in the LP pool previously. If you were in the LP pool previously, you'll be just like how if you were in the pig pen, you had the option of going, or if you were in the piggy bank, you got in the piggy bank. Yeah.
So you would automatically just credit them to the farm. So you would just put them, if they had Drippy USD, you put them in the Drippy USD pool. If they had, not Drip, but Dog BUSD, you put them in there. If they had Dog BNB, you would put them in the Dog BNB farm pool.
Yeah.
On the Alpha farm.
Yeah. So,
that's good.
Yeah, and let me just say, because there has been some confusion, and it's hard to tell because, of course, with all big projects, you have other groups that they had competing projects, and they want to go to war with you, they want to create FUD and all this stuff. So sometimes it's hard to separate legitimate issues with just people trying to cause FUD and disruption. But I do see that there is one bit of confusion when it comes to PIGs crediting, and we've had maybe 100 people come forward that we've tested so far that said that they were not credited PIGs that they were supposed to be credited, and we've had a ton of them. We've gone over at least 100 of them, individual cases, looking at all the transactions, looking at 100% of the cases, going over 100% of the transactions in these cases, and so far in every case it's been either they didn't send any PIGs into the credit contract, they had PIGs in their wallet and they were expecting to see it in the credit contract, or they had it in the credit contract and expect to see it in their wallet, or this is this last one is what is most frequent. They had PIGs claimable in the mastership contract, and they thought that they would be credited with the launch of the piggy bank and pigpen. But just like people that were in the pigpen got credited in pigpen, people in piggy bank got credited in piggy bank, people that were in the mastership contracts that had PIGs claimable will be credited in the mastership contracts. But let me just say that the amount of PIGs that were available to claim on the mastership contracts when we paused made up less than 1% of the supply of PIGs. And this is because all the incentive was to claim those PIGs and either put them into the pig pen or the piggy bank or sell them. So the amount in there was very small, but because mastership contracts, the way they determine the amount of rewards you should get is when's the last time you compounded or withdrew, and the percentage of the pool you make up, how many blocks have gone past. And since blocks had gone past while we were paused, we made it very clear that any pigs or dogs generated after the pause event will not be counted, will not be credited. But still, there's no way to make the master chef not generate them if we unpause it and people are withdrawing to credit. So people, when they withdrew those pigs and they withdrew those dogs, it credited them as if, or let's just say it generated dogs and pigs as if it hadn't been paused the whole time. But this is the whole reason why we created new mastership contracts, is so we can account for this. Because of course we're not going to be adding dogs or pigs into the supply that were generated after they were paused. So there's some small percentage of people who expected to get dogs or pigs that were generated after the pause event, and or they had pigs available to claim at the pause event, and they expected to see those in their wallet or in the credit contract. Now, this is a very small amount of people, right? But when you consider that we have something like 70,000 users, even 1%, is going to be, 700 users. So a very small percentage is still a lot of people when you are dealing with such a large group. So this is why, from all the cases we've looked into, this is why people are having some confusion. And I would say the vast majority of these people, all of them that had pigs in the pig pen were credited. If they had pigs in their wallet, they were credited. If they had pigs in the piggy bank, they were credited. The only people that were not credited yet are people that had pigs available to claim in the master chefs when we paused, and you will be credited in the new master chef contracts, but this makes up less than 1% of the total supply of pigs and a very small amount of people. Well, a very small percentage of people. It could be 500 people, but that's still less than 1% of our users. So this is where the confusion is coming from, but it's very difficult to tell if it's people, if it's people that really just are not paying attention, because we've said this so many times. We said this before we even did the crediting event, that this is the way it would go. It's very difficult to tell, is this people that are legitimately not paying attention and just are confused, or is it people trying to sow distress?
Crypto for a lot of people is new. There's a lot of moving parts, and everyone's not technical minded. So this could be it's just just confusion. That's it. They just need a little bit of understanding, or maybe someone there that could be a mentor for them in the space. I want to say one thing that's a slight annoyance with the UI that maybe we could do something about. I know several of us have said something about it, is when it disconnects, you have to reconnect every time you refresh the page. And another thing, this guided menu where it says learn more, it keeps popping up. So maybe you don't have to do this now. I'm just saying in the future, when you have time, maybe have the learn more button on the top right corner or something like that, instead of that guided thing that pops up that you have to connect and then move the guided thing out the way every time you go to a new page.
Yeah, so that's two separate things. It's on the list of what we're going to do with that, and the plan for that is the info, the guided info. So we had already made a change to that. So I told my UI guys that I wanted them to put a check so people could decide whether they wanted to pop up in the future or not. And what they did was, but they made an update where it only shows once, and then from that point on it doesn't show up. And I told them, no, you gotta revert it to the way it was, because people are gonna go on it, they're not gonna read it the first time, and then it's never gonna pop up again, and then there's gonna be people asking questions that would be answered if that info box just popped up all the time. So what I told them is, no, you have to have it so it pops up every time, but they need to be able to check a box so if they don't want to see it in the future. And that's something that will be done. We're right now working on the farms and pools part of the UI, and when we push everything, it's going to be a major update. All these little annoying things and stuff like this will be taken care of all at once if we don't do it before. But definitely by that time it will be done. And then the connecting of the website to the connecting of your wallet when you refresh. So this is something that we did as a security feature, where your wallet does not stay connected to the site when you leave the site, and that is something that is a benefit when you're from a security perspective. But something that I think we can do to make that less annoying is some of our values on the site, you need to refresh the site to refresh those values. The reason why we do that is because you have to essentially call an event when you want to update values. And the more often your site is calling servers to update values, the more bogged down the site gets and the more slow it gets. It gets heavy. And if you have thousands of people accessing a site and their UIs are all calling constantly to be updating values, you'll see the site start to slow down. And right now our site's pretty fast, pretty quick, and I like that. It's quicker than our previous site. So what we can do is take some of the values that require a refresh to update and make them update automatically. And
so that's why we have to connect each time.
Well, no, why you need to connect each time it was a conscious security decision that we made, where when you leave the site, it disconnects your wallet. But I think the major annoyance with this isn't coming from the fact that when you visit the site once a day or whatever twice a day you need to connect your wallet. It's the fact that people are refreshing constantly to refresh values, and every time you refresh to reset the values or to update the values, then you're having to reconnect the wallet. That's the only time it really becomes an annoyance, because you're doing that multiple times over and over again. Whereas if we have those values updating more often and automatically, you won't need to refresh the site to do that. And I think that's the better way to handle it. Instead of taking a hit on security and making it so people's wallets are not disconnected when they leave the site, we just make it so there's less of a reason to have to refresh the site, because the values themselves are updating automatically and more often. It's just a balance between having the values update more often or automatically versus having a faster, just snappier website. So it's just a balance. But I mean, I appreciate the feedback. These are things that we can make little tweaks on and improve for sure.
And another big thing, the question I'm getting is, okay, so that's why I asked questions about the dogs, because I know the reason why the single pool assets of BNB, BUSD, ETH, and Bitcoin, and then the liquidity farming assets like BUSD, USDT, those can't be removed until dogs is unpaused. So
that's not true.
When you think about opening those pools to let people get their BNB, BUSD, or their yield farming assets that they had in the farm to farm dogs,
at any point this whole time, people could have called the emergency unstake function or the emergency withdraw function and gotten their whatever capital they had as far as non-native tokens. So if they had BUSD, USDT, or Chainlink or whatever, they could have called the emergency withdrawal function and gotten that capital off the farm, off the contract.
So to do that, because I'm kind of showing on the screen so people can understand how to do that.
You would have to go to BSC scan. You would have to go to
details, and then they would probably go to view contract.
Yes, so you would need to go to BSC scan. You would need to put in the MasterChef contract. You need to hit the contract tab. You need to do write contract. You need to find the line there that says emergency withdraw, connect your wallet, and call the emergency withdraw function. But I would say if you have not done that, right, then you've been in the farm for the past however long, 2 months or whatever. We're just a week away from doing this migration process. We're actually starting the dogs part of the migration process this week. So you'll be able to use the UI to easily migrate that capital over to the new MasterChef contracts. So I would say if you haven't done it already, you might as well stick with us and benefit from sticking with us, because we're going to ensure that the people that were in this from day one and were in it for the pause event will get some sort of reward for doing that, just like we made it right with the pigs token. So I would say, of course, whenever we do anything, right, we're never holding people's capital without some sort of ability, if something goes wrong, from those people to be able to get that capital off the exchange. So there was always the emergency withdraw function. Whenever people ask, we tell them about it. And but a significant amount of capital stayed on, and the reason why you would want to keep your capital in there, the reason why it made sense to keep your capital in there, is because when you keep your capital on our in our farms right now, even if you're not earning yield in the form of our native assets, you're still being staked on the back end in PancakeSwap and earning yield. And as long as you've taken your pigs and you put your pigs in the pig pen, you're getting paid out that yield in the form of BUSD. So where's a better place if you want to have your capital locked up, to be earning yield, your stable coins or whatever. Really, where's a better place to put it other than PancakeSwap or Animal Farm? And if you're in Animal Farm, you're getting staked on the back end in PancakeSwap. So it's not like your capital has just been sitting there, not earning for you, just first of all, you could have always claimed it at any point using the emergency withdrawal. And it's not like it's just sitting there wasting time for you anyways. It's generating yield in the form of cake. That cake is then being restaked in the single asset cake pool. And that's earning yield as well. So you're earning yield on yield on yield on, on the back end right now. And as long as you have some pigs in Pigpen, you're going to be paid out that in BUSD. And we took a small percent, not even 10% of the yield that's been generated from this, sold that cake for BUSD and did a Pigpen injection just 2 days ago. And the reason why we only did a small percentage is because I just don't think it's a great time to be selling cake. I think the market has bottomed out. I think BSC bottomed out at 26,000. And, I think it would make way more sense to be selling that cake at higher prices to do the injection. And, when you talk about BSC, so BSC doing a 10, 20% pump in DeFi will typically be a 2x or 3x pump. So I see cake, appreciating value a lot if the market has bottomed out the way I think it has. And, if we sell the cake right now for $1 million, when we could wait maybe a month and a half and sell it for $3 or $4 million, it just kills me to sell the cake now. So, but instead of me being the one to make that decision, what I did was I sold a little less than 10% of it just to do an injection, just so people can see that it's happening. And we're going to wire up the governance protocol in the new UI and have people vote whether they want it sold, they want the cake sold now for BUSD injection, or if we want to handle that in the future. And then we can have a proposal, say once a month or every other month, where people vote on whether we're going to sell the cake for BUSD and do the injection, or if we'll wait for a better price. I think that's the best way to handle it. And now all of the other cash flows are automated. So like the deposit fees, which are swapping for BUSD and injected, the dog 3% tax, which is swapped for BUSD and injected, the pigs that are generated piggy bank that are taken from the deposit withdrawal fees automatically sent to the pig pen. All of this stuff is automated. The only thing which is not automated, and I'm kind of repeating myself here because I said this at the very beginning, and the amount of people in the chat has doubled now, so I want to make sure that they hear this. The only thing which is not automated as far as the cash flow going to the pig pen is the collateral and the yield that we're earning on the back end through Pancake Swap. And the reason why this isn't automated is because I wanted some flexibility on whether we use it for buybacks or pig pen injections. Now, but I feel like instead of me making that decision, it's way better to use the governance protocol, because really this is a community project. The owners of the pig token in the pig pen are the owners of the protocol. They're the ones that are earning from the deposit and withdrawal fees. They're the ones that are making as the system grows. They're the ones that are benefiting from it. So they should also be the ones that get to make these kinds of decisions. So it's a perfect use case of the governance protocol. And if people saw what I posted on the Animal Farm chat just like 10-15 minutes ago or whatever, I posted a sneak peek of the farm UI, and that's what we're working on right now. We're working on the governance protocol UI and the farms and pools UI. So in the next couple weeks that will be up.
So I wanted to get into something else, another concern I guess some people have, but my thing about this is super bullish news. I'm gonna get into the lending protocol and I'm gonna get into the scratch off just a little bit. I know you talk about it a lot, but my biggest thing is the lending protocol. That I don't think people understand. Maybe some do, but a lot I don't think so. And this could probably be why I find that Drip, because of the lending protocol, Drip itself is going to be like Bitcoin. I think it's going to be more viable than Bitcoin. I think that is why right now, if you look at the wallet holders, many people are holding Drip. They do not want to. They don't want to sell their Drip. And I'm telling people now, you better buy Drip, because there's going to be a huge supply issue as far as trying to buy Drip, which is going to cause a huge price appreciation. Because there's not a lot of Drip left out here to get. Like, people are hoarding Drip. Like, once you guys understand this crap, like this Drip is like nothing else out here. I feel like I knew it was going to be big, but after this, I feel like it's going to be the biggest project in crypto. Period.
Yeah, so there's nothing that
How I
allows
imagine it, and I wanted to go over how I imagine the lending protocol work and see if it's somewhat your idea. But okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I really don't think we should discuss the details of it right now for a couple of reasons, right? One, because I don't want people to essentially, steal the idea, even though they would have a very hard time implementing without the base of drip, which is something that you really need to do something like this. But
no, I don't want you to explain how you would have it function. I wanted to give an idea of how I see it working and see if you had something if that makes sense, if that would work in a lending protocol. Because I have an idea of how we could do a lending protocol, but no, I don't want you to put out the way exactly how you're going to do it. But I wanted to give an idea of how I see it going forward. And if it's not, you can just say, nah, it's not quite almost because what we have going on here now, if you look at the holders, is very interesting. Now the number one holder is PancakeSwap. So Drip BUSD already that's where most of the coins are. So people are already throwing that, and that most of it is for the garden. A lot of that Drip BUSD, that's the number one wallet holder, and that's PancakeSwap holding that. And then now when this new DEX comes out, this is going to be a third DEX that's going to be eating up Drip, pairing with BUSD. And so you can already see the number two wallet, that's the vault, that's the tax contract that's collecting those 10% taxes, which I think only the way that's how Drip pays off is through transactions. And I think the scratch off is going to help move coins. Because the biggest thing is, the vault is important. Meaning, when I say the vault, I'm talking about the faucet, putting things into the faucet is important. That's what the lending protocol is going to definitely solve. It's going to make the faucet very popular because right now there's not a lot of huge deposits going into the faucet. There is, but not number-wise. It's like people like yesterday, I think we had like 122. Before we were like 3. We had higher numbers of people going into the faucet and locking up coins. But trust me, when a lending protocol comes out, it's going to be insane. And we already have a lot of people holding the coins and putting them into the garden and putting them into, now it's going to be the new DEX. And then when the farm comes out, there's going to be more BUSD going into that pool. So, and the one that the vote is down to 14%. So, and then 13%, 135,000 is in the actual RDEX that's holding Drip BNB. So, I believe the scratch off is going to help a lot with that because 20% of that Drip is going to be used to put into the vault to pay out the reward.
And that's
ultimately it's a lending protocol.
So just the scratch ticket project alone, right? That's going to be 1,000 BNB essentially every day at 20% of that. So 200 BNB every day, buying Drip, sending it to the vault. That's if we do a 1,000 BNB batches, which we're deciding whether we want to do 10,000 BNB batches or 1,000 BNB batches, or whether we're going to scale up. But likely we'll start at 1,000 and scale up to 10,000. So this is going to be anywhere from 200 to 2,000 BNB worth of Drip bought every day and sent to the tax vault. That's huge. When we have the farm going live, that's also going to be sending 1% of every deposit into that as Drip into that tax vault. We also have the DEX partnership, which is going to be causing a lot more transactions on this DEX, and these transactions have a 10% deposit but buy and sell fee. So this is going to send a ton more Drip to that vault. And then when you consider that the vault, so the vault, works by removing Drip from circulation, right? But whether the vault is, the vault could have, 1 million Drip in it, or it could have 1 Drip in it. You're not going to have some kind of thing where overnight there's some major impact where like the environment changes. So really the vault does its job very well, and it doesn't matter how much is in the vault, you know, because the faucet itself is what's determining what is getting paid out, and there's no you know, the vault isn't directly connected to any kind of liquidity pool, so it's not going to have an immediate reflection on the price. So really, you know, there's there's no like
Yeah, I know that. I'm just letting people know that there's a lot of scarcity. These coins are not. They're gonna be drip is gonna be very valuable because of the scarcity. Like I said, if people look at the holders, people are soaking up. They're grabbing as many coins as they can get. And I'm telling people, if don't complain about the price for now, you better be glad you can buy some cheap. Hey, all I'm saying is, if you knew about Bitcoin when it was in the low hundreds, and you knew where it's at now, that's all I'm saying about drip. Same thing.
Yeah. So my point was basically, as long as the drip is locked up, right? It's doing its job, and a lot of the drip which would be in the faucet vault is now in the drip garden, or it's, you know, in the LP token, which would be going into the animal farm contract. So, you know, the amount of drip that is in circulation hasn't increased, right? It's just a large percentage of it has migrated from the vault into locked up in the garden, or locked up in the LP pool on PancakeSwap to be used to animal farm. And as long as it's not actually being, as long as it's not increasing as far as what's in the circulating supply, then it's not going to have any kind, you know, like the vault could go all the way down to zero, as long as the drip that was in the vault is now locked up somewhere else in the garden or whatever. That's what
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know that much. I just want people to understand the scarcity. They get, drip is valuable, and it's gonna be even more valuable. And I'm gonna get into the lending protocol, but it's gonna be me. This is my idea. I'm gonna give my thoughts, and because
you know, I really wish you wouldn't, man. Because if you
not even my ideas, you know,
because you know, say your idea and it's what we want to do, because maybe, you know, you think you're right on the same page as us. You know, it's just like there's no need to you know, to just give that information out right now. You know, I think. Yeah, and if you do have an idea that's even better than what we thought, that's an even better reason not to say it publicly. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna have to talk, because I really believe, I think we don't even need a stable because of the way drip functions. And you've already said this publicly already. The fact that people can loan out the drip that they have. I just want you guys to understand how bullish this is. The fact that you can loan out the drip that you have to someone else in the community.
Yeah. So the way it will work is people will be able to get a loan based on the collateral that they have staked. So instead of having to withdraw your drip from your your stake to use it wherever, you could take out a loan against it, and now do whatever you have to do. And while you have your loan out, the daily ROI that you're making, instead of it going to you, it's going to the person who issued you the loan. So the loan is paying itself back, and with interest, of course. The person that issues you the loan is making interest on it. And now, if you get whatever you did, say you did a pre-sale, that's why you wanted that capital. Now you do the pre-sale, you made money on it, you know, you did a 2x or whatever. Now you can pay back your loan early. This way you're not paying like more interest on it. And now that ROI, that daily ROI you're making on drip, instead of going to the person that issued you the loan, now it's coming back to you. The person who issued you the loan got their money back early plus interest, so it works for them. And then let's say you do a pre-sale, whatever, you end up losing your money on it, it's a rug or whatever, you still get nothing to worry about, because your stake was the collateral for your loan. Your daily ROI will be able to pay back that loan over time. It's going to pay it back, you know, more slowly now, so you're going to pay more interest on it. But the person who issued the loan, you know, that loan is secured by your collateral, and now they're going to get paid back over time. And because it's going to take a longer time for you to pay them back, because it's going to be the daily ROI, they're going to make more interest on it. So and the reason why, so yeah, so if I got into more than that, then
you don't have to get into more than that. I just want people to understand that lending protocols get billions of dollars, and I believe I have a way that we can have the lending protocol set up without causing so much sell pressure. Because as you know, people can get loans on their money. Someone can come in with $1 million and get a nice collateral loan from it. I got this figured out. We can do this without causing sell pressure really anymore on drip. That can get us in that Bitcoin range, price range, through this lending protocol. I think, like I said, through this mechanism alone, it can make us like the biggest project, even bigger than the one that just went down, even bigger than that blockchain, because they were a financial blockchain, but I believe we can do it even better.
Their issue
bigger, and there was 20 plus $1 billion over there.
Yeah, so and their issue was
billions of dollars here.
They had a kind of sloppy algorithm that they used for pegging, where we wouldn't have anything like that at all, right? Like if we did have something where there was a stable, it would be over collateralized, meaning that we wouldn't be using some sort of market dynamic to set the price. It would be the ability to, the same way that USDT or DAI, for example, DAI is a collateral-backed stablecoin. What gives them their pegging is the fact that they are backed by a basket of assets that are majority stablecoins, which have US dollars in a bank somewhere, for example, BUSD. And when you have it actually backed by collateral, then unpegging becomes a non-issue, right? As long as you're properly collateralized. So yeah, it's going to be way bigger than what UST and this other project did, and way more secure, because it's not. Algorithmic stablecoins have proven to be inefficient in these markets, so we wouldn't do anything like that.
So you have that plan for this year, because if we can have it out this year, then my price projections, which I've already stated, I'm not gonna say on video, but they're pretty high. If this comes out this year, I want to add, besides lending protocol, which is very juicy. Did you complete or finish the game that you were working on?
So one of the games, so there's two games that I want to build. One of them is an auto battler, and the other one is a role playing hacker type game. Now the role play.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, that one, the contracts are built, and really, so I've been working on this for a long time. I've been working on this for over a year, and the plan initially, because the NFT marketplace on BSC really wasn't there, so I didn't want to do it on BSC. I didn't want to do it on ETH for obvious reasons, right? It's way too expensive to run a game properly on it. So the idea was we'll do it on Solana. And Solana was saying that they'd be EVM compatible at the end of last year. Now, we're halfway through this year and they're still not EVM compatible. So I've had a couple, I've been reached out by a couple sidechains. One of the sidechains reached out and offered us a, multi-million-dollar marketing budget, essentially millions of dollars out of their own marketing budget to do a co-promotion of our game if we launched on their sidechain. But I also don't want to launch on a sidechain that hardly anybody uses, even if we are getting millions of dollars to do that. So BSC, I feel like
much better with NFT.
Yeah,
there's one big community that's NFT walking community, and that's pretty big, and that's on the Binance Smart Chain.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Yeah, Binance is starting to pick up their game with NFTs, and it's something that I really do want to do. Everything needs to have its own time, but for sure, by end of year, I want to get the lending protocol out. That's for sure, end of year. Now, Scratchies, I just talked to the team that I'm working with for the Scratch Ticket project, and so that I would say a minimum a month away, but I would say realistically about a couple months away. And the reason for that is because, you know, the Morales isn't going to be able to handle the thousands of requests that we're trying to do. So we're building our own custom Web3 authentication service just for the project. And I mean, this is a really big deal project. Like people are probably like maybe be underestimating the impact that this project is going to have. But we're building our own, you know, Web3, our own custom Web3 authentication service, you know, to handle the kind of volume that we need to be able to do this. And it's major development that we're doing, and it's going to change the way that these kinds of lottery games are done in DeFi. And so I would say we're about 2 months away from that, potentially sooner, but you know, I would say minimum a month away from that. So we're gonna have a lot coming out, right? We have tomorrow, hopefully, I'll be announcing the date and our partnership when that will go live. That will be going live. I have to talk to him today when we get off this, but I would say 1 or 2 weeks, probably 2 weeks.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, and then Animal Farm will be fully live. I would say, you know, 4 weeks from now max, right? So there's that, and then so that's going to take us into next month, right? The following month, we'll likely have Scratchy out, Scratch Ticket Protocol. Maybe the month following that, but we'll see. I would say the following month we'll at least have the pre-sale for it. And when we have the pre-sale for Scratchy, we're gonna have it in the DAO, but we're gonna open up the tier 2 DAO access before then. So we're gonna have that. That's gonna be a big deal, right? We're gonna
hold on. You just said something. You just reminded me. The tier 2 DAO thing.
Yep.
Someone's mentioned that to me, and I recently asked you to get some more, some tokens for me. Well, we gotta talk after this because I want to get in. I got other people that are interested. It's just easier to buy. But anyway, so
if you want to get into the DAO, now's the time to do it, because we're having the Acquirify raise, and we were gonna have the Acquirify raise on Saturday, but we decided to build a UI to allow people to more easily get into the raise. And that UI is built, and we're going to be doing it tomorrow. So we're doing the raise tomorrow. So I'm not heavily promoting it because it's sold out. When I say it's sold out, I don't mean technically it's sold out, because we're not having a first come first serve model. We're doing a max cap of $5,000, which is going to allow us to have a little bit extra, and then we're gonna have a second round for people that want a little more. So we're purposely setting it up so the raise will be 48 hours long, and we're setting the max cap small enough so everybody will have a chance. And then when that 48 hours is over, we're gonna have people going for seconds and we know
that's 5,000 total or 5,000 per person.
Per person. Yeah.
Oh, 5,000 per person. Man, I got it.
Yeah.
So what is going to be the disadvantage? Okay, what's going to be the second DAO route, which is going to be less REAP? What's going to be the difference between the two?
Oh, the difference is the pricing. So we're going to have, it's going to be an NFT. So your ticket to the DAO will be represented by an NFT, and these NFTs are going to sell for 1/10 of the price that you would have to pay if you were to get access to tier 1. So say like right now it costs about $30,000 to get into the DAO. So when we sell the NFTs, if the price is around the same for REAP, then we would sell each NFT for $3,000, and then this will get you access to the DAO, but you'll be in the tier 2 of the DAO, and the allocations will be somewhere between 20%, somewhere between 10 and 20%. So for example, So for example, the allocations for Acquirify, we're having a $5,000 max cap just to ensure everybody can get in, and then we'll raise it for a second round. So the allocation will be somewhere between $7.5 to $10,000 per person. And so the way that would go is For the tier 1, the max cap will be 10,000, and for tier 2, the cap will be 1,000 or 1,500. So it will scale. So you'll pay a tenth of the price to get in, and the allocations will be somewhere between like a tenth or a 15th, something like that. So
now the NFT, will it be bought with REAP or are you going to do it with Drip?
So the plan now is to sell it in batches and have batches sold in a variety. So we'll have some in REAP, some in Drip, some in BNB, like that. So yeah, that's the plan, to do multiple batches. But it's going to be limited, right? Of course, because these projects that we're raising for are extremely exclusive, and I never raise for projects that are doing infinite raises or stuff like this. So we're going to keep it exclusive. So likely we're only going to sell 1,000 NFTs. So each NFT will represent a share. But the cool thing about it is you can buy one of the NFTs, and now if you want to, you could decide to flip it. So you might pay the NFTs it might mint for $3,000, but there's going to be crazy demand for them because there's only going to be 1,000 of them. So you might be able to flip it for $10,000 on day one or whatever. You decide what makes more sense to you. But yeah, so we're going to have a mint price that will be about 10% of the price of the normal DAO. So right now it would be like a $3,000 mint price to mint the NFT. It'll be a batch of about 1,000. And then that will give you access, or you could sell the NFT on a secondary market, and whoever has the NFT gets the access. So, that's what it works. And we're going to do a whitelisting just to make sure that one person doesn't come up with a bot and buy all the NFTs or anything. Like, we'll do a whitelisting to make sure the initial mint process is fair.
I really want to come out with something like a DAO or some big incentive for being in the faucet and being staked at 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 500, like some type of incentives for being in the faucet and building your position there, kind of like a launchpad service or a DAO, just something to give reason for people to get and build positions in the faucet. Because I know those launch pads and stuff like that, or even DAOs, especially if you have big raises, a lot of money will go into those. So
this is why I've said that any products we do in the future, I'm not interested in launching new tokens, and the reason for this is because we have 5 tokens now, right? We have REAP, BREAP, Dogs, Pigs, and Drip. So these are our 5 tokens, and we have to support all of them. So the DAO, the main use case for the DAO, or I'm kind of saying it backwards, I would say the main use case for the REAP token is the DAO. And you can't do everything for everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't certain use cases have to be exclusive to specific tokens in order to ensure that they have the kind of value, like you're not spreading out the value too thin. But I mean, there's nothing preventing you or anybody else, right? And this is, of course, we're going to continue to build. The reason, so I kind of just started on this, but I didn't finish it. So the reason why I said that I don't want any more tokens is because there's so many more things I want to build, and all of the things I want to build from this point on really don't involve a new token. There are things that will utilize our current tokens, such as a scratch ticket protocol, such as lending, such as privacy, these kinds of things. So we're going to continue to build value for our tokens and for our different platforms. Now, with that said, there's nothing stopping you or anybody else from launching your own DAO and having be tied in to the faucet or be tied into any of our contracts. And we're fully supportive of that. Of course, we're not fully supportive when people try to make a cash grab out of it and try to ride off.
I want to have something. I want to Well, if any developers want to reach out to me, I have a good mind, but I'm not a developer. So, but I do have some ideas that we can add for the drip ecosystem.
Yeah.
I know
So
we
just
definitely have some good devs that aren't part of the team, but they're actually building things like dripnetwork.ca and where's the guy that made this? Because this is very good. Matrox Dev. This whole charting system that tells you the hydrations, the deposits, how many new accounts.
yeah.
This is very valuable information here and statistics. And then the
So
other guy, what's the website that? Let me try to find that website that shows the stats for Drip, the piggy bank. His name is
oh,
Jason.
I know exactly
Um,
what you're talking about. I don't know the link off the top of my head, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, there's a lot of very talented people. We have a
that
group
was just
called
doing things.
called Drip Devs, and there's a lot of people working on a lot of stuff. Now, what prevents me from promoting some of it is just you know one of the so for example we had the drip calculator, right, where
Yeah,
someone actually, just to avoid drama, basically what prevents me from promoting a lot of them is that people will create something like this, they'll charge for it, which is fine. You want to charge for it, that's cool, no problem with that. You're providing a service, you deserve to get paid for it. But then after they get a ton of users, then they try to launch their own little scam reflective thing, or
yeah. There
buy
was
this,
yeah. I heard you mean.
buy this, and there's a 1% tax on every transaction that goes to developers. And it's like, man, you can't have a 1% tax on transaction going to developers. It could, because oftentimes on day one, the volume you do is many multiples higher than even the total supply. So within a week, the dev has accumulated 30-40% of all of the tokens. Though the fee on transactions is only 1% going to devs. So I always, when people say that they're doing something, this they almost always implement something like that, where it's a percentage of every transaction is going to them. And I always tell them, don't do that, man, because I'm not going to promote it, because that doesn't work. You're just going to centralize all of the capital in your wallet. And of course, that's their motivation. So they don't listen to me and they do it anyways. And I don't promote them. They end up with a little hype for a week or two, and then they just die. But
Yeah, there was one particular page that was giving stats, and it was all for stats for Drip, and they shut that down to then move to another project to recreate it into another competition project. So,
yeah, of course.
yeah, I understand. I understand. There's a lot of people that want to get the audience and attention of this community because we're one community that has a lot of money, that generates a lot of money. We have a lot of pull and power now. And it's just good to see that Drip has gotten this big. But I feel like with everything that's coming, I mean, if I just look at the lending protocol, that could give us 1 million users.
Yeah, I
The
really do
lending
think that.
protocol gives 1 million users. Now, scratch offs, I mean, that can get us to like 300,000 because
Yeah,
there's
I
nothing
think
like that
lending.
out here.
I think peer-to-peer lending it's like the killer app for DeFi. I really do, and there's no one else that's doing it. So, I mean, I think it's going to be the biggest thing in DeFi. I really do, and so I have a couple ideas on how to do a lower risk and a higher risk model, and of course, the primary integration will be for Drip, and then but I think that we can do lending for more than just Drip, but the primary integration will be based on Drip and Drip collateral. So there's I really do think that lending, peer-to-peer lending, is the killer app for DeFi. There's a privacy thing that I want to do. There's a lot that I want to do, but lending will be by the end of the year, right? That's the goal. Lending by the end of the year. And we have a lot coming up in the next 3 months. That gives us a few months that I would say we're kind of open between when all of the stuff that I've mentioned will be launched and when the lending goes live. And maybe in that 3 months, I can get the game out, something like that. I'm not going to stop working. Like, this is what I love to do. So we're just building, we're working. Drip's making higher highs, higher lows, higher high, higher lows. It's going to move with the rest of the market. I would say Pig's token is less likely to move with the rest of the market because we're always improving, we're always learning. So what we realized is that yes, you can have a deep BUSD pool, but you're still going to be affected by the rest of the market if you have a significant BNB pool or a significant ETH pool or whatever the case is. So what we did with the Pigs token is used a little trick to make it essentially impossible to add liquidity on the BNB pair or the essentially any other pair except for BUSD. So that makes it so we're completely isolated to the BUSD pool. So we really are completely unaffected by the swings of the overall market. And that's huge. So there's things that we're always learning, we're always improving, and we're going to keep building. And we're not going to be launching new tokens. It's going to be all use cases and services and products and partnerships for our existing tokens. Now at 8 o'clock EST, I have a meeting, and what I'm doing in this meeting, I have a buddy who has built a system, right? It's open source. I'm sure it will be. Everybody will know what it is once we integrate it. It's not well known, but people will notice it because it will say the name of the service. But it's an open source service that he's going to be integrating for us that connects different social media platforms. And what this will do is when people post in the Drip Telegram group, it will post for them in the Discord group, whether they're a member of the Discord or not. So what it will say is, blah, blah, blah client, their name, and their post. And when someone posts in the Discord channel, whatever they post, it will say on the Telegram group, on the Drip Telegram group, blah, blah, blah client, their name from Discord, and it will post it on Telegram. So that means that if you're in the Drip Discord channel, you're going to be able to see and chat with all of the messages in the Discord channel and on the Telegram Drip group. And if you're in the Drip Telegram group, you're going to be able to see and chat with everybody on Discord and see all their messages. So it's gonna link our channels, our project channels, to our Telegram groups, our project channels on Discord to our project groups on Telegram. And there's a lot of people who prefer Discord over Telegram, and this is going to give allow them to be engaged as well. So this is going to be really big, and I think we can link it up to WeChat as well and a couple other social media. So we're going to experiment connecting our Telegram and Discord. We're going to get that hooked up tonight, or at least we're going to start working on it tonight. Hopefully we can get it hooked up tonight, and then we're going to integrate WeChat after that, which is huge for the the Chinese community. So we're working every day to increase our exposure over social media and the different community groups. So that's another big thing. When I get off this call, I gotta connect with the DEX, and I'm gonna try to get that done. Before we do the social media meeting that I have, and then we're gonna get hooking up that this social media client as well. So there's so much left to do. Also, the art for the dog and pig token, I didn't want to use the same the token art or the same token symbol or picture, whatever you want to call it, because that would just cause confusion. So we had a new one made. I really like it. I think it's cool. And now that we have that, I can apply for CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, all of these different listing and analytic services. So that's another thing that I have to handle tonight as well. So, we had a very smooth and successful launch, and now it's time to take care of all the housekeeping that involves a new launch. That's what I'm going to be taking care of the next few days.
Well, yeah, I believe you're definitely one of the hardest working devs in the space.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Putting countless hours working, not only just doing work behind the scenes. I guess a lot of like the Steve Jobs type thing, just talking to people and getting with social media influencers and having these interviews. Is Yeah, definitely. It's got only thing it has you doing this is passion. So just people understand it's passion to someone doing something for money.
Yeah,
So
I believe this is the best kind of promotion you can have in this day and age is having someone that is able to get across the ideas in a way that people can understand, and then getting them on as many platforms as possible to spread the word. I think that's the best kind of promotion you can have because pop up ads and or banner ads and this kind of stuff they can help somewhat get a little exposure, but really people are not clicking those ads like some people think they might be. People are watching YouTube videos, people are joining Telegram groups, people are joining Discord groups, and this is where you need to get their ear. That's what I try to do.
okay, so what I wanted to say is, I don't know if you want to answer a couple questions, but I'll stop the YouTube video. You can ask a question just for the group, for people in the group. But your idea with the privacy before we get to the questions, if you want to do that. Are you saying there's a way to make Binance Smart Chain transactions more private, or like a layer or a way like maybe Tornado Cash, or what way
Yeah.
privacy? What way are you thinking with that?
So better than Tornado Cash. So there's something that I'm working on right now with another developer that potentially could be something that we move forward with. It allows for immutable on-chain, 100% private, not just as a mixing service, not just making where you can see someone sent to this address, and then after it's sent to this address, now it kind of becomes obscure. I'm talking about a service that allows you to set up dummy wallets, right? And then when you send a token to the dummy wallet, it now virtually disappears because you don't know this dummy wallet is part of the obfuscation functionality. So instead of having like a small handful of wallets that everybody knows Tornado Cash, you can set up dummy wallets where the funds go to this dummy wallet. Now it even provides false data to BSC scan, where it tricks BSC scan into displaying transaction data that isn't even accurate. And
that's then so we can have an in between. So if you don't want these exchanges to have your address, or you don't want crypto.com or coinbase.com, or well, I know they don't have BSC, but let's just say crypto.com because they have BSC. You can have it in between before you send to the exchange. That way you don't have your exact address where you're doing things like drip and everything, all your activities.
And these wallets are shielded as well, so they're dummy wallets, but they're also shielded, so you can't see how much capital is coming in and out of them. It's a major improvement on Tornado Cash, and right now, it's operational on a test net. It's fully it is fully, well, it uses ZK snarks, right? So it has some of the encryption privacy of Tornado Cash. It takes it to another level with dummy wallets and obfuscated wallets where you can't see what's coming in and out, and also the ability to feed false info to BSC scan. So it tricks BSC scan. So if someone's trying to track your transaction through BSC scan, they'll be getting false info. It really takes it to the next level. And this is what I'm speaking to a developer about, who is the one that developed it. But he's a very skilled developer, but he's also not known at all. And yeah, so I'm talking to him now about either buying the tech off of him or partnering with him.
No, if we can, if there's a small fee, like a 0.2% fee or 0.5, have it where it goes to buy drip and put it in the vault, or add to the reservoir, something like that. Some small fee could be small as long as it's buying drip and put it in the reservoir, or doing that and put it in the vault. Anything.
Yeah, well, either way, it'll be accessible on the drip site. So whether we're using a fee to buy drip or it's just a privacy service that can be used for drip that you can't find anywhere else but the drip platform, which will bring a lot more attention to drip. How anything we do, of course, will be in part to service our existing tokens, but also there's some things that we can do that go beyond our own tokens and really just innovate our major innovations for the whole space. And when we do those kinds of things, it brings attention to our other projects. So there's a lot I'm working on right now there's an idea that was a Tornado Cash fork that we could do, but it also so it's essentially similar to Tornado Cash, but you're being paid yield for increasing the anonymity set, kind of like Tornado Cash, but with a in and out fee that gets distributed to people that are in there longer. And this is what I was initially working on, but then I linked up with a developer when I really started, really researching deep into privacy when I was thinking about doing this for. I found someone that's doing something even way better, and hopefully we can work something out. But yeah, I mean, it's lending, it's gaming, it's privacy, and insurance. I think those are the main use cases for DeFi, and I'm looking to tackle all four of them and go as hard as we can. And I'm not looking to develop new tokens. I'm looking to provide these for our native assets and for other assets in the space. So when I say that, of course, I mean, for example, the Scratch ticket protocol. The tickets are being sold in BNB, but a portion of those BNB are going back towards our native assets. So, whether it helps us through providing another cash flow or just bringing a ton of new attention into our products, that's always the goal, right? To move the space forward and bring more capital and attention to our projects.
Okay, I'm making sure you can hear me correct, because you can hear me because I had to connect to my phone. I think my Wi-Fi reset.
I can hear you now. I did see some people in the Animal Farm chat saying that they were having trouble hearing me or trouble hearing you on the video, but I'm not sure. People say things, and who knows if it's true or not. So I just kept going with it. But I know everybody in here could hear us. So, anyways, I don't know.
Okay, reset. Looks like everything is good. Do you have maybe you said you get on at 8 o'clock? Do you have 15 or 20 minutes? Maybe do a couple questions.
Yeah, we could do a couple. I would say let's do 3 questions or something, because I have a meeting at 8, but I also want to link up with the Dex devs, and I don't want to I want to get that done earlier rather than later, because the meeting I have at 8 could go a few hours. And I want to be able to make that announcement tomorrow in the interview, and I want to try to work that out with those Dex devs. So I want to have at least a half an hour. So we could do a couple. Let's do a couple questions, yeah, and then I gotta go though.
Okay. I guess people can raise their hands if you have questions, and hope it's a good one. One that you probably haven't heard. I hope it's a good question that hasn't been asked a lot. Let's see, Victoria.
Do you have people in your YouTube channel that are asking? Oh, you're not live.
Well, what I did. Okay, why is this thing?
All right. Well, I'm gonna just open it up to people here. So I'm gonna open up to Victoria right now. All right, Victoria, you can unmute yourself.
Good evening, Forex. That's all you do. I just have a quick clarification. So for the pig pen, you're doing the auto compounding, but for the piggy bank, there be a compound all function, or you're not going to incorporate that?
Okay, yeah. So with piggy bank, we're going to do a button essentially at the top that allows you to compound all your stakes at once. I'm getting an echo. Could you just mute yourself real quick? Oh, actually, that's not you. I don't know who that is. Yeah, mute yourself, Guru.
Okay, yeah, it should be good now.
Okay, yeah. So with the piggy bank, we're going to do one function that that auto compounds everything for all the stakes for you, and for Pigpen, we're going to have an auto compound function, and the way that will work is it will take the pigs that you've earned in dividends and it will compound that for you, and it will take the BUSD that you earned and will use that to buy pigs and then compound those pigs into your stake for you. So, we'll set it where you have to give approval to do that. So if you don't give approval in the pig pen, then it won't auto compound for you. And the yield will just build up as it's doing now, and you can choose to compound it when you want, or you can do auto compound, and essentially a couple times a day it will take the pigs that is available for you to in your rewards, and it will compound them into your principal, and it will take the BUSD that you have, will buy pigs for you, and compound those pigs as well. So this will allow people to increase and earn compound interest on their stake, and as their stake grows, they'll have a greater share of the yield that's being generated and paid out to them, which will be compounded and in turn really start to outpace the people who are not compounding and not auto compounding. So that's something huge, and we have a very we have a way that we can do that already set up, because we already have a contract that that can buy pigs and pair pigs. We can utilize the functions of the crediting contract to do this, so it's not going to be very hard to implement. And then the piggy bank, we're having it where we're having a compound that allows people to compound all stakes. The reason why we're not having an auto compound in piggy bank is twofold. One of them is because really the reason why you want an auto compounding is typically because you're earning a secondary asset that is not the asset that you have staked, and you want a contract which is going to use that asset to buy the asset you have staked and then add to your stake. So this is the main functionality of why you would want an auto compounding contract, and this is why we're adding it to Pigpen. And we also just want to make it easier for people to remain in the Pigpen and grow their Pigpen stake relative to withdrawing. Because if you can make it easier for people to remain in the system, they're going to remain in the system for longer, and that's good for everybody. Now with the piggy bank, what determines whether you get the bonus on any given day for that day is whether you compound, because the way that the piggy bank works is when you do a time lock, it buys an additional so the way that the piggy bank works is when you first deposit, it uses those LP tokens to buy truffles. Those truffles get immediately compounded for you or fed to piglets, so you have piglets, and now those piglets start generating truffles. When you time lock, what it does is those initial truffles that it buys on the deposit that it uses to make the piglets, it will buy extra of them, whatever your percentage for the time lock bonus is. So let's just say, just to make it simple, I'll use arbitrary values. You time lock for a week, you get a 10% bonus on it. What it does is when you do that deposit, it will buy an extra 10% more truffles. Those extra 10% more truffles go into your bonus balance, and then that bonus balance is of truffles is added to your available truffles every day, once a day. And then to get those bonus truffles that are added to your available truffles, you need to compound them on that day to essentially to collect that day's bonus distribution. And the bonus truffles that you get are added every day. A little bit of this this bonus principle or this bonus pool is added to your truffles that you can compound every day, and it's weighted towards the end. So over the first 75% of your stake's length, 25%, sorry, 30% actually. Over the first 75% of your time lock, so if you're staked for a year, when 3/4 of the year is over, you would have had 30% of that bonus made available for you to collect. And the last 70% of that bonus is made available, is added to your truffles every day in the last. So 70% of that bonus that you earn is added to your principal, or added to your truffles that you can compound into your principal every day. So sorry, I kind of the way I explained that kind of got a little messy and complicated. I'm sorry about that. But anyways, what this means is you have to be engaged to get your bonus. And if you don't compound on any given day, you miss that day's bonus distribution. So it really incentivizes people to be engaged and to be active in the community. And if you're not going to be active in the community and you're gonna, just make a deposit and try to drain the system and not be active, not want to compound any of that, you're not going to get your bonus. And this is by design. And if we had an auto compounding function in the piggy bank, then it would allow people to not be engaged, to just kind of set it and forget it, which really is not helpful, right? Because they're time locked anyways, meaning they can't withdraw anyways. And so with Pigpen, there's a time locking on principal. There's not a time lock it on rewards. So they could withdraw it. So auto compounding for them is a benefit to the whole system, because you're taking dividends or rewards that otherwise could be claimed and you're compounding it into a time lock stake. So that's good for the user because they're earning compound interest and really rapidly growing their principal. But it's good for everybody else, all the other holders as well, because it's taking pigs that otherwise could be claimable and dumped on the market and putting them in time lock stake. And it's taking BUSD and using it to buy pigs and locking that up as well. Whereas Piggy Bank on a time lock stake, they're time locked anyways. So there's no benefit there to auto compounding for them, because those truffles that are being auto compounded couldn't be withdrawn anyways. And all that does is allow people to not be engaged and still benefit from the system. So this is why we're not doing auto compounding on Piggy Bank, but we do want to make it easy for people. We don't want people to be wasting their time going through 50 stakes. So this is why we're adding one button to allow people to essentially hit it, approve it, and this will auto compound all their stakes all at once. And this is something that we're working on right now. So likely the auto compound and the UI, all that stuff will be good to go by next week. Potentially by the end of this week, but for sure by the end of next week, because next week we will have the farm and pool UI up, and we want to just do one major UI update to everything. So that's likely next week. I appreciate the question. That's a good question.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to just answer one more question because I really have to go to this meeting. So.
Okay. All right. I mean, when he goes, I know you're busy. I don't mind talking to people here and answer some questions. I do it anyway. It's like randomly I'll open the chat and just talk to people, give them time to talk and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. I appreciate it. All right. So more door, more whores. You wanna? I unmuted you.
I asked Daily Income Guru if I guess I thought that you said that we would be listed on the exchange that the DEX was going to be on. So I didn't know if you were talking about Binance. And I was also wondering if the guy that showed up for KuCoin last AMA, if anything came out of that.
Okay, so with the Binance isn't.
You also released that picture the other day about CN token, so I guess
okay. Cool. I'll address all that. So Binance, let me just mute you though, so I don't get an echo. Okay. So Binance isn't a DEX, right? So the DEX partnership I'm talking about is a major DEX on BSC. Binance doesn't have any kind of decentralized lending protocols or anything like that, right? So it's not Binance. It's a major DEX on BSC. I will likely be announcing it tomorrow in the interview, on the Crypto Junkies interview. That's what I'm about to go into a meeting right now when we get out of this to see if I can announce it tomorrow. And what else? CN Token. CN Token is a Chinese version of CoinMarketCap, and we had worked with them initially to help get some promotion to the Animal Farm launch, which was huge, right? And I think that did a great job to help us get some exposure in China. And we went from having less than 100 to like almost 500 members in our Chinese Animal Farm group. So that's what we applied to CN Token to get listings and promotion on there. And we have Crypto Mischief, who is a resident in China. He speaks Mandarin, and his wife is Chinese, speaks Mandarin and Cantonese. They're the ones that have translated all of our white papers, all of our documents, and all that stuff. He's the one that applied for us. And let me just, while I'm speaking on that, this meeting that I'm going to at 8 about connecting our social medias, we're going to start off with Telegram and Discord, but there's also the ability to link up with WeChat, which will be huge for us to promote in Asia, specifically China, and having a listing on CN Token will make us even more available to that market, because they'll be able to look up our token on a site, a major listing site that's in their language, and get access to that information. And then let me see. Did you ask? Let me unmute you, so because I feel like you said one more thing. Okay, did you ask one more thing? More doors?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I asked if anything came out of the KuCoin guy that showed up.
KuCoin. Well,
is Pancake still involved, even though we're going to do P2P lending?
Yeah, Pancake is for sure involved, and that's something that I've been in negotiations with them for, the single asset lending. When I say lending, right, when I say Pancake Swap lending, I'm not talking about peer-to-peer lending. So there's a difference. When I talk about Pancake Swap lending, I'm talking about lending our assets to their lending pool, which they then use to make a market, essentially. And when I talk about lending for drip, I'm talking about a peer-to-peer lending where actual people in drip can use their collateral to take out a loan against from other members in the drip network. So these are two separate things. And for sure, Pancake Swap is, we're in negotiations with them right now. We've been in negotiations with them, and we are going to likely work out something, something very cool between the two of us. And KuCoin, I'm not sure. I have to, you brought that back to my attention. What I can say is that we are constantly being contacted by people who are claiming to be representative of KuCoin and other DEXs, which they're not, right? They're people that are scammers and whatever. They try to say, we can get you listing, but you need to be the ones that provide the capital for the order books. And then, of course, they're scammers. They try to take your money or whatever. So I'm not sure if that was legitimate or not. And also, I would have to give some thought on, do we even want to be listed on KuCoin? We do. So I would say getting listed on one of the major DEXs can give you a lot more exposure and attention, but it also allows people to sidestep a lot of the tokenomics, because if they can trade without paying a tax, because they're not actually trading the token, they're trading some derivative on a exchange, then they're kind of sidestepping all of the tokenomics. So it can be, there's pluses and negatives there, and really the only reason to do it is for exposure. So it would need to be on one of the major dexes, and then they would have to provide some kind of promotion or whatever it might be. So
if we had 5 dexes scoop up 5 pools worth of 130,000 supply that we have right now, I mean, it would create higher.
It would remove tokens from circulation and increase the price. Yeah.
For us that are on chain, it would be good for sure.
Yeah. So it's something that I'm open to, but I would only do it with one of the major dexes because, so of course, if one of the smaller, not dex, centralized exchanges, it would need to be one of the major centralized exchanges. And of course, any of the smaller exchanges, if they want to buy our tokens and list them, create their own order book, they could do that. I could help them do that. I have no problem with that, because in that case, they're actually buying the tokens. And when you buy the tokens, you can do whatever you want with them. I mean, I don't if you're an exchange, you want to buy the tokens and set up an order book and start having trading of our tokens on your exchange. They're your tokens once you buy them. You can do that. And I would help, whatever you need for that to get done. I'm cool with that. A lot of these bigger exchanges, though, they don't want to do that. They want you to provide the capital on the order book. And then in exchange, you get a lot of exposure from them. But that's not always the case, right? Because I know that there was an exchange that paid the SafeMoon devs some percentage of all of the transaction fees on their centralized exchange. I'm not sure if but SafeMoon probably gave them the tokens. So I'm not sure. I would have to look into exactly how that would work out. But I'm not super interested in centralized exchange listings unless it's like one of the major 3, like FTX, Binance, Coinbase. KuCoin's right on the limit, but potentially I'd have to speak to them. I'd have to give it some thought. If they're the ones that are going to buy the tokens, then yeah, I would probably say, yeah, we would do KuCoin. But also, the reason why I didn't put like my full attention to this is because we're constantly getting people claiming to be from KuCoin, and a lot of them are not. And a lot of them are scammers. So that's why, I wasn't like, oh, let's go put all my attention onto this right now. But now you brought it up, I will, give a second look at it.
I appreciate it. I know everybody here appreciates everything you're doing and killing it in the DeFi game.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it too. Without the community, I would just be here, just making code, and the contracts would be sitting on chain with no one using them. So, this is nothing without the community, especially Drip, right? With the team building and all that stuff, and people like Guru, helping us promote and really giving us inspiration and, energy. So I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate it, Guru. I got to run. I'm going to jump in with this Dex, try to get things worked out for tomorrow so I can announce it, and then have this meeting with our social media starting at 8. So I appreciate it, man. And we'll link back up. It's been a while, so we got to do this more often. And I know that you're down for that. I'm just, I've been so busy trying to get Piggy Bank and Pigpen and everything out. And but you're one of my favorite channels. You're one of the best, most supportive people in the community. And we appreciate you, man. Everybody go to his channel and subscribe, because he's giving the, I would say the most accurate info, or he's one of them out there giving the most accurate info. So subscribe to him.
Yeah, one thing I'm excited is, I wanted you to ask, because I know you're about to talk about this other Dex. Has PancakeSwap thought about allowing us to have a Drip BUSD there to farm out Jake? Because we already got a lot of liquidity there.
Yeah, so I did have a meeting with them about that, and this is one of the things that we're negotiating with. But as I said before, a lot of the things that we were in the process of handling kind of got put on the sideline, so I could do the animal farm migration, and now we're just about finished with that, and I could really start to put my attention back on drip and all the things that we had on the table for that. So that is something that's what I'm most interested in. That's something that we've had meetings, we've had Zoom meetings. We have a private group with just me, I think Bartertown and the Pancake Swap devs, and we're in communication with each other, trying to figure out how we can best support each other. And they're the ones that reached out to us to say, hey, you guys are really, you're doing big things on BSC. How can we support you as the main DEX on BSC?